And so Kaylee's going to be monitoring the chat. Our webinar, welcome to Soar with Schoology, Rubrics and Mastery again. We are going to start with rubrics and mastery. I'm going to be doing rubrics and Karen is going to be talking about mastery today. And then Kaylee is going to be providing lots of tips and tricks within the chat. And so please, if you have any questions, feel free to add them to the chat because we are monitoring that. Or if you have any ideas, thoughts, we love hearing what you guys think about the content. We love having you here. This Taking It series is one of my favorite parts of my job that I love being able to share this information with you all. So we're going to get started with rubrics. I'm not actually going to spend much time in these folders because I'm going to jump in and just show you exactly what you're going to need to do. But we do have these videos here that are located on our YouTube channel. They are creating rubrics in an assignment and rubrics in grade setup. So you have those two features here, these two pages that you can read about on your own time because they're a step-by-step guide. So after the webinar, you'll have access to this course. And if you need to go back and read the information, it is available for you. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to, is that me making that noise, my computer?
I don't know.
I don't know if y'all hear the dings.
I heard a ding. I heard a ding.
Oh, I don't know where that's coming from. Okay, maybe I got rid of that. Okay, so I'm going to go to grade setup. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you where your rubrics are. So within your Schoology course, on the left-hand side, you have grade setup. And notice there's this word scales right here. And then you also have rubrics. And so in this course, I have already added one rubric that we've actually added from the curriculum container. So you can add rubrics that have already been created and are saved in resources to your course, or you can create your own resources. So I'm going to add a rubric really quickly. And so there's scale and rubric. So just to backtrack real quick, I go to grade setup, and then I'm going to click rubric. So add rubric. And notice that it starts off, you have a title, criteria, and grading scale. And I'm just going to show you right here that if I want to align this to a TEAC, what's going to happen. And so I'm going to just title this discussion board rubric. And maybe I have aligned this to a TEAC discussion board. And let's say this is what I wanted. I can have the points here. Maybe I like how this is worded. I could change it. Maybe I need to say needs improvement, more vocabulary needed. If I wanted to add another category, I could add criteria, and this adds another row. So if I was doing this maybe for an essay, I could have different criteria. Do they complete the task? Is it comprehensible? The vocabulary. But when I add a learning objective, so I'm going to quickly add one just to show you what happens if you want to align this rubric to a TEAC. If you've already created this part. So I'm going to quickly go down to state standards, Texas, essential knowledge, and I'm going to go to my content area because I just know it really well, which is world language. And so I'm going to add, so let's say this was a presentational writing rubric. And when I add this TEAC, notice it makes another criteria. And so if you've already filled this out and you're going to align it to a TEAC, it is going to make it as its own criteria. So if you have a rubric with multiple TEACs, that's fine. You can then have multiple TEACs within your rubric, but just be aware if you're making that rubric and then you're adding the TEAC, it is going to make its own criteria row. So I'm going to add that learning objective, and I'm just going to keep I'm going to get rid of these two to show you. I'm going to say, let's say completed task. And I'm going to say yes and no to show you how simple a rubric really could be. And maybe this one, I only want to have 3 categories, and this one can have all 4. So I'm going to go ahead and create this rubric. And now I'm going to come over to back to material. So it's already created. And I'm going to go into rubrics and I'm going to make a discussion board to show you where you can add the rubric. You can also add it to an assignment. It really falls in the same place. Be aware that when you enable, so I'll have to enable grading, and I'm going to then pick a category. This will be discussion, just as a sample. And I'm going to click where it says numeric, because the scale or rubric, I'm going to add the one I've created. Now, let's say that I'm making this activity and I don't have the rubric yet. I can just make it right here on the spot. Maybe I see this rubric and I look at it right here and I say, you know what, this has too many categories. I don't want to edit it. Karen, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't want to edit it here because it will change the rubric for the whole course, not just in this one assignment. Is that correct?
Well, you can change it there if you're only going to use it for this one. But if you have that same rubric attached to any other assignment, it changes it across the board.
Right.
So in all three of those assignments. So if it's, sometimes I'll make a mistake there and I can go ahead and change it here because I haven't used it anywhere else yet. But yes, you're right. Once you have attached it to other assignments, and you change it in here, it changes it in every one of those assignments.
Right. And so I know this discussion board, I don't want it to include all this, but I don't want to lose this rubric. So I'm going to click cancel, and I'm actually going to change this to create new. And I'm going to get rid of these because I'm creating a new, and I just want just the teak. I want it a little bit more simple. So I'm going to click, oh, got to give it a title. So I'm going to title it discussion board rubric 2. This is just a sample. And now I have it here, and I always show rubrics to students. I don't know what you guys think, but I think that I want my families and students to know what exactly I'm assessing them on. So I always make sure this is selected. So I'm going to go ahead and create, and you guys in the course, you can go ahead and look at this assignment and you can see the rubric. So if you go down to the bottom, discussion, you can see right here the criteria. I love how it shows up. And if someone will actually make a post as a student, I can show you I'll grade this, how it shows up. So if someone will quickly make a post, we'll see, let's see how fast, who will be the first one to post anything. Let's see, I'm going to keep refreshing. Oh, look. Okay, if you guys can see my screen, you can see this little grade. I don't know, this little page with a pencil. This is where this is how easy it is to grade a discussion board with a rubric. I'm going to click here. I could add a comment. First one. All right. And then I'm going to click, it opens the rubric, and look how easy this is. This is an excellent response. And I'm going to save it. And now a little check mark. I know it's been graded. Super easy. I love rubrics here. And you can also add rubrics to assignments as well, which makes assignments really easy to grade. And if you are I don't know, is there anyone, shout out in the chat if you are a pre-K through second grade, kindergarten through second grade teacher. Is there anyone here? Because we do have in the curriculum the standards-based grading rubrics. I'm not sure. Okay, there is second grade. So I'll show you real quick where you can find those. So I'm going to click, I'm going to edit this. And I believe, no, I can't add it. Okay, so this was a standard based, but what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to go to the curriculum container. So I'm going to click resources, not resources, I'm going to click groups. And I'm going to go into the curriculum container, and I'm going to go to resources, teacher, student. No, aren't they in each grade level, Kaylee?
They're in the kindergarten first.
On second grade.
Okay, second grade and standard-based grading. And so the rubrics are already added, but just be aware that what you're going to have to do is you can't actually view them in the curriculum container. Because so let's say I want a science one, you can't open this because you're not an admin in the curriculum container. But what you can do is you can add them to your course. So I'm going to add, I think I might have already added them. I'm going to add this one to my course. And I just need to, now I have a lot of courses, so let's see if I can find it. Did I go too far? Let's see.
No, I think it's down towards the bottom. There it is.
So hopefully you don't have as many courses as I do, but you're
No,
just gonna
no one
add
has as many as we do.
you're gonna add it to your course. But if you do want to view it before you add it to your course, you do have the ability when you're just looking at rubrics here where it says the link, you can view the second grade science rubrics. You can view them here to see what exactly you're adding to your course. So those standard based grading rubrics are available in the curriculum container. And someone just asked, can students view comments made on individual students' rubrics? They cannot. They can't view the comments and they can't view the grades either. And so they don't see the grade that other students have received on the discussion boards or on the assignments. That is just between teacher and student. All right, and so that is, let me go back to that course. And that is all about rubrics. And Kaylee or Karen, do you guys want to share anything else on rubrics, or
why don't you go in now and show them how it landed in that course,
okay,
that one you just did,
okay,
that
so
you just put in there.
they're all my courses. Okay, there it
We have
is.
so many.
All right, so there's two ways that I could view that. I'm going to add an assignment here to show you where I could just, I know I've already pulled it into my course. So I'm going to quickly make a test assignment, and I'm going to click make a category, and then it's right here, that scale and rubric, and notice it showed up right here. So I can either create new or use one that I have pulled from the curriculum container, or one that I have created in the grade setup. If I want to manage or monitor my rubrics, I can go to the grade setup and look at those rubrics. So if I accidentally add one and I don't want it anymore, I can delete it. If you make a fabulous one and you want to share it with other teachers, you can save it to your resources. Maybe you have a group that you work with other teachers, or you could copy it if you're all working in a practice course together. If you use one of your practice courses, copy it to that practice course, and then teachers can copy it into their own course.
They can edit in there too, like we were
Mhm.
showing earlier. They can edit there too.
So someone just asked, the grading scale, the default one that comes in says excellent, good, satisfactory. And what do those actually mean? It means how you give them to your students. They don't really, they just mean, I guess it's just the sample that kind of comes in to give it some sort of context, but you can change those to say whatever you need, and you can create as many, I don't know what you'd call it, not categories, because you would create as many, I guess, levels within the rubric, however many points you would like. You can modify, so I'll show you. Let me go into this.
Yeah, that's just their standard default that they put in there for good. You can make that say whatever you want. A lot of times like she did earlier, needs improvement, add more vocabulary. I mean, that just shows to the kids in the rubric how they scored, but you can.
So great response.
And I guess it would be like you would have to just say, oh, did they do a really great job, with your criteria that you set up in your classroom when you're going over that project. And what am I expecting? I'm expecting neat work. I'm expecting,
I like that. Excellent. All the words spelled correctly. All right.
Is there a way you could share?
So if you share it, if you have them in a team, you could definitely all go into that practice course and look at the rubric together, because you can make them in a practice course, even though it's not connected with any students. I think this would be a great thing to do during team planning, to come together and collaborate and everyone use the same rubric within your department, just so that everyone across the board knows how they are assessing their students. That's, I know what we did in world language, that when we would meet as a team and we would calibrate our assessments, because our class was performance based. And so just like fine arts, we wanted to make sure that we were all assessing our students in the same way. And so we really used rubrics. If it wasn't a multiple choice test, a rubric is really needed, because how else will students know what they need to do and how well they did on each aspect that you're asking them to do. Oh, if you would like a DLS or one of us to look at it for feedback, we would love to come look at your rubrics and see how you're doing. And so that's definitely something that if you're creating rubrics and want to work with your specialists, I know that the math specialists and the literary specialists would also be great people that you could reach out to and ask for help. You could even share it in your PLCs with your administrators and see. I mean, there's a lot of people that could look at it, but we would love to help. We're big fans of rubrics. And someone asked a question that I actually don't know the answer to.
I can actually, because
Karen.
one time in the summer, we had added a rubric and I noticed a spelling error because we're human and spelling is not my best subject. And I corrected it and, people had already, yes. So yes, you can edit it. I would be real careful. I mean, you're not going to want to change it. I didn't mess with points, and I don't know what would happen if I had deleted that, after I'd already started grading, but like spelling errors and stuff, I've done that sort of thing and edited it. So
that's something we can definitely look into and maybe try doing a test with one of your teachers and let us know if you see, just maybe on a small assignment, see if it makes a difference. And we'll also look into it, because I had never really thought of that, a lot of our rubrics in world language are pre-created for, like, we made as a team and then we never changed them. So, but that is a good point.
Yeah, like I said, I've edited them and done it that way while I've already graded some and then gone on. But like I said, I never adjusted point stuff, that kind of editing, to see if anything like that.
All right, I'm going to stop sharing my screen so Karen can now start talking about mastery, which is great because it is very connected to rubrics, because when you have rubrics, you can make sure your assignments are aligned to your TEKS, and mastery is directly connected to our TEKS. And so Karen is going to start talking about that now.
Yeah, we love, and as she was showing with rubrics, at the very beginning when we first launched online as courses for teachers, we didn't use rubrics, and oh my goodness, when we'd have 200 teachers in a course and trying to grade everything, it would take us hours and hours. And so now, rubrics just make your life so much easier, because you can just go in and ding, 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 you glance at it. So love rubrics. And this year, with you all talking so much about data trackers and kids owning their learning, mastery just takes that to the next level of being able to use that data. So the students, because they can go in and see how they're scoring. And I'm going to show you some things that we love about this. So what I need everyone to do is go ahead and go into the mastery folder. And you're going to see there is an assessment at the top. And I only want you to take 1 minute. We don't want you to score a 100 because we want you all to actually see what happens when y'all miss. And teachers are the hardest ones to try to tell to get answers wrong. I'm just going to tell you. I've been known in some of my courses to mark the correct answer with a wrong answer, just because I know teachers are not going to try to miss anything. But I didn't do. Oh, my dog's barking. Okay, so quickly, let's give you 1 minute, maybe two, to go in, because I want to kind of show you all what mastery looks like for the teacher and from the student perspective. So go into that folder and let's give you about 1 minute. There goes my dog. I might have to go give her another biscuit. Bella.
We'll see. I'm refreshing my screen, so we'll see who's the first to finish. Well, I might not know the first, but I'll know the first
Okay.
couple.
I may have to give her another biscuit. And while y'all are,
All right, I'm refreshing who can speed through that assessment. Which I guess we don't normally tell that to our kids. Don't take your time. Don't read the questions. Oh, look. Okay, it was Galloway. Good job, Julie. Julie was first. All right,
Julie's first. Ooh.
who's gonna come in second?
Maybe we should have done prizes for this.
Oh, I couldn't give her another biscuit because she still has her stick.
All right,
She
it
still
was
has-
Kayla. All right, I'll say who's third as well. And you know
I
what?
did pretty good for not reading the question. Yeah, that's so funny. Do we have to click on? You don't have to, no, but it'd be
All right,
nice.
and Janelle was third.
Okay, so while we've got some people still going on and they're in there barking, I don't know, we'll just have to keep going with it. All right, so actually, all right, so is that bugging y'all? Can y'all hear them?
Yes, we can hear.
Crazy dogs. Okay, I'm going to click on the word mastery over on the left-hand side. And so as you can see, what starts to happen here is that it shows you quickly, if you put your cursor right up here at the top, you will see that I had 5 people exceed expectations, 2 that did not meet, and I have 32 who are slacking because they haven't even done their assignment yet. But anyway, you can kind of see how this goes with this. It also gives me a quick glance of, wow, I need to pull. So for this teak right here, I might need to pull those 2 students right there and do a small group. Maybe I need to do 5 to 10 minute review with them to go over that teak with them. So you see how mastery, this color coding. So as we've been talking about data trackers this year, and I know that's a district focus for students to, it really does help them own their own learning. You could have their little notebooks that they've been putting their data in, and they pull it up and, oh, so teak number 5.3a, they can color code that so they have that in their little tracker. It just helps them to quickly see where they are. I'm going to go here and, okay, so let me make sure I grab, I'm going to pick on Darren here. I'm going to go view the course as a student. And so I'm going to show you, let me find Darren here. What was his last name? Parrish. There he is. So I'm going to go here. And so now let me kind of show you from a student perspective. Y'all already saw it, but the students can click on mastery and then they get a different view. So it looks like this. And so don't be fooled by this 0 right here. That just means that they did take the test. It tells me the name of that assignment right here, but they missed it. They're at a 0% on their knowledge. It's not that they haven't done anything with that yet. It's just that they are all the way down here. It's not even high enough to get a color bar there. Aaron, you did great. See, he listened to me. He just marked those answers. But you see how it shows them the name of the assignment and it'll start going across here. And so, but here's my favorite part. I love how right over here, the kids can actually read the whole teak, estimate to determine solutions to mathematical and real world problems. So they can read. A parent, when they come in from the parent portal and they're looking at this, they know exactly what to help their kids with because it's listed right here for them. All right.
Point out, Karen, that if you scroll down, you'll see the LOTE teak that Emily added when she did her discussion board, because and when she built that rubric, she aligned those learning objectives. And so now it adds it into the mastery.
It sure does. All right. So let me get out of the student view.
And Julie just asked a question that, does it
Right.
show mastery across several assignments? Or is it just
Yes.
one assignment?
No, it would have, we saw underneath there, let me go back and let me see. I'm trying to remember who's taken the assignment. Because
Julie did. If you,
Julie, what, right here,
yeah,
Gowan? Okay, so I'm going to click there. I'm going to go to mastery. Now we only did the one. And so see it right here, there's the name of the assignment. So it'll start building, going across here with your assignments here. So there's several things that I want to show you though about this, because right now this course is set to the default settings. So I'm going to get out of here and I want to show you some things that you need to do. And don't worry about all of these instructions. What Emily shared earlier about rubrics, it's all inside that folder written out with videos and written instructions, so you all can come back in here later and read this. So if you don't remember, oh, how did she get to that? Come back in, go back into these folders. But one thing I want to show you is I'm going to go over here to mastery for just a second. And up here at the top is a little, oh, look, we've had lots more people taking it now. But look up here at the top where we have this gear. So you want to click here. And what I suggest you do is at the beginning of the year, as a department, as a grade level team, you all sit together and you decide, what do we want to set these mastery settings? So I'm going to open this up and show you, because the default, I don't know about you all, but for me, meets expectations is not a 50. The problem is
your dogs don't agree. Yeah, they say no,
they
no.
They don't. And the problem is one dog has a bone and another one has finished hers and now she's wanting it. Okay, but so sorry. So meets expectations. So as a grade level, so 50 is not meets expectations to me, and exceeds expectations is a 75. So this is the default that comes in from Schoology. So as a grade level, so you are consistent, or as a department, I would get together at the beginning of the year and decide, okay, let's change this. So for me, meets expectations might be like a 75 or whatever you want to set it. We're going to leave it at 75. Exceeds expectations for me would be either at least a 90, or I'm going to make it harder. I'm going to put it at a 95. I don't know. It's up to you. This doesn't really, it's not like we're saying that this is going to show up in the grade book as a 95. It's going to be how the percentage of what they're scoring on this, and it affects the colors. Okay. So the darkest green exceeds expectations, okay? And then the meet expectations is a light green, and then anything below that is going to be red. So I don't want the kids that are getting a 50 to get a green, okay? Because they haven't met expectations, all right, for me. So I would change that. The other thing is this little star, and it's hard to see right at the moment, but the star shows that they've mastered. Well, this is set for 1. So one time they see the teak, and maybe they were a great guesser on that day and they got it correct. So now they earn this little dark green star right here that says, wow, you are great. Well, I think they're going to have to at least see that teak 3, maybe 4 times before they can earn that green star. So that's what that means. All right. The other thing that I think everyone should make sure they leave it on decaying average. So what decaying average means is that it looks at, so let's say in August 15th or whatever day we started school, I gave them a pre-assessment to see where they were in math, okay? And they didn't do so well because it's we've had summer vacation, we've had COVID for however many years we're going on, I don't know. But anyway, so they're not doing very well. Well, then they reassess them in 3 to 4 weeks, and now they're doing better. Decaying average looks at that and says, you know what? I'm not going to weight that first test that they took as much as I'm going to weight the last test that they took. It's not fair for our kids, I don't think, for us to say, I'm just going to give them an average, because if they got a 30 on that one and then on this one they got a 70, there's no way they can pass. They can't get anything, okay? So, well, you're not really changing that. I would leave that. I'm not messing with the 50 to 7. We have the decaying average set to 50. This right here, weight the most recent observation with 50%. See, I would want, okay, well, I wouldn't mess with it. I leave it at 75 because I want them to not be penalized by that first attempt. I want them to get a higher score for their last attempt, because now they have grown, they have learned. And so for me, I would leave it at 75, but that's me.
And I would say their first attempts may be a pre-assessment.
That's right. That's what I'm saying. Those pre-assessments. Why? So if you change this to highest score, I don't really want that, because I do want to show progression. The average, they can't really ever recover from that if they scored really, really low. Say they scored a 25 and then they get a 100 on that last one, that's still going to be an extremely low score. So for me, I just think decaying average is the way to go. It gives the kids more credit for achieving, for learning. That's just me. All right, so what I would say is go in, set these mastery, so set these as a grade level so that you're consistent on your grade level. Now, another thing that I love to do, especially because you know what, let's look at this. And I'm gonna call on Claudia here and just use her as an example because I know her. But when Claudia comes in and looks at her scores and she sees a 0, that is very defeating, I think. If I get a 0 on a paper, I mean, sometimes they just shut down. And so I don't like to even use numeric. What I like to do is change it to words. So I'm going to use I'm going to move that out of the way. I'm going to show you something here. I'm going to go to grade setup.
Poor Claudia. She just said she's so sad.
She's so sad because you look at all those zeros and you're like, why should I even try anymore? You know? So in here, we do have 2 that are already created for you that are words. So I'm going to show you what happens when I change it to one of these, okay? So I think, can I do it here? But normally I do it in here. So I'm going to go back and see if that helped. So I'm going to go back to mastery. And I'm going to go to here and I'm going to go to mastery settings, and down here, nope, I do have to do it here. So I'm going to go to mastery scale. Do you see this right here? My dogs. Do you see where it says mastery, PL mastery? I am so sorry. I'm going to save these changes. Now, look at this. So for, so sorry. Sophie.
So remember, they're not going to see this wall of
They're
red
not.
as the teacher.
So I'm gonna go back
all
in.
the kids. Yeah.
I'm gonna go back in as Claudia now and show you what this. What did I do? Let me go back in. View course as. No, there we go. So Claudia is right here. But for a student, this. Especially those elementary kids, but I mean, even for high school kids. So look at the difference here. Not yet met expectations. That you don't see those zeros anymore, okay? It's easier for parents to understand sometimes, but those kids, needs improvement, all right? needs improvement. So the kid can come in and say, okay, they're not seeing those numeric, the zeros, the whatever. So that can just be very deflating to our students, especially the elementary. But I even think, I don't know, Kaylee and Emily, for even those upper grades. I know my experience is elementary, but
No, and I think sometimes they see that 0 and they'll question, well, did they just not do it? Like, was it even turned in? And I think you get a lot more confusion between parents, because a lot of times when you see a 0, you think, well, this was just not, like, I think of assignments and it just was not turned in. So they received a 0. And so by making that not yet meets expectations, you're kind of stepping away, I feel, from, like, this isn't about grades. This isn't about did they get 100% of the class? This is, do they have mastery? Do they understand what we're trying to teach them, what the teak is? And I like how it is more in that direction.
I would think some
oh,
parents
sorry.
can use that percentage with the grade and saying, oh, well, they made a 95 on this, but in the grade book it says,
That's right. I was going to say, the grade book still shows you that 0, that 50. That's not changing the grades are still there. They're still going to see that in the grade book. This is just that mastery of the teaks, as she was saying. It puts more emphasis on, do I understand the concept versus my score so much on the 100s and all of
And
that.
I think for a lot of kids that is a way to, a lot of times we talk about how do we reach our students who are not necessarily, I taught high school in Louisiana, rural Louisiana, where, a lot of my students didn't actually really care about their grades. That, they came to school just because that's what you did. Not all my students, but I did have a certain population of a group of students that they were going to go work in the oil industry, make more money than I did as a teacher. So they were just there to graduate high school. And so it really, their grade, a C was fine for them for passing the class. That's all they wanted to do, is pass the class. But then when we started talking with them about the specific learning goals of the class and not so much the grade, it just became a lot more meaningful for them. And it really put the ownership in put it in their hands. And I really think this is a way to reach some of those students where that the grade maybe isn't necessarily even I think of our younger students where, think of second and second, first grade, third grade students that they aren't really maybe necessarily thinking about their grades, but they might be thinking about, do they understand the material? And so I really think you can.
Yeah.
Oh, it's time. Yeah.
No,
I could talk forever about that.
But let me show you real fast how I did that, because you may not want to use, and there is a little video. I do have a video in there, but let me just show you real fast. So to do that, I went to grade setup. Like I said, we have 2 that are already in there. They're called PL Mastery and PL Mastery 2. I'm going to put that one back. But if you click on it, it shows you what it's going to say there. So you can kind of see that's Master Proficient. But let's say you want to use different terms. Like sometimes, like for me, I was a first grade teacher. So instead of needs improvement, I might say try again, or something that's more friendly for them. So however you want to word this. So what I did was over here, I went to add scale. And what you have to do to make this work is, you see right here where it says scale. Well, I'm going to name this one just called practice. And then right here where it says only show the letter grade, because I'm actually, instead of writing like A, B, C, D, E, F, which you could do it that way too, but I don't like that one either. But anyway, I'm going to actually write words. So I'm going to put a little check mark right here. So I'm going to say great for my first one, and I'm going to make this go from 90 to 100. I'll add another level, and I'm going to say good good for this one. I'm just going to do it fast. So now for this one, I'm going to make this one go from, let's just do 70 to 90. Right here though, because this one says 100%, I just need to put a percent that's between these two. So I'm just going to put an 80. It's not going to show up anywhere, but that's what I'm going to put. And then here, I'm going to say, keep trying. Okay. All right. And for this, I'm going to put all the way from 0 to 70. And then here, I'll just make that say 50. Okay. So then all I have to do is say save changes. And it's going to add it over here. Now watch, I'm going to go over here to mastery. So once I've created that, I'll go to mastery. I'll go here. I'm going to say mastery settings. And then I'm going to go right here and I'm going to put it on that last one I just made called practice. And so now it says this. And so this is what the kids would see. So you can make it say whatever it is you want it to say for your grade level, your class, the terms that you all are using. I know for standards-based grading, I think it's mastery, approaching, still developing. I mean, if you want to make it say for that, for those terms. But like I said, you can do this however you want to set it up. So inside here, I do have under mastery, we do have a video that I created in here that right there that will show you how to do that if you don't remember what we're doing tonight with that, because I know this was fast and furious, but as Emily was saying earlier, we love using mastery and rubrics. Rubrics will make your life so much easier if you just put everything in here, and she feels so much better. I'm so glad, Claudia, that you don't feel so bad because you got those big goose eggs that you were looking at, and now you see, keep trying. Oh, there goes my dog again. Okay, anyway. Questions? Any questions for us while I am pulling up the, I'm going to get the prize thing ready to go while y'all are, anybody has any questions? Goodness. Okay, I'm not going to grab the email addresses this time like I did last time. Yeah, that was confusing. Sophie's a little upset because somebody has her chew toy, I think, her chew. Okay, let's copy. Goodness, dogs. All right. Any questions? So it doesn't look like we have any questions. Wow. We were perfect tonight in explaining this. So what do y'all think about mastery and rubrics? You feel like you are ready to get out there and start using that? Yes, an amazing tool. Yes, for each teak. And one thing, let me show you, and I don't think let me show you one other thing real fast. Let me go to, mastery. Yes, you've got to use you've got to use rubrics. Go in here. Do you see this little, it's probably hard for you to see, but there's a little 1 right here. And when I put my, Sophie, stop. When I put my cursor there, it shows me the assignment that was in. So once I assign this teak, it'll change to 2, to 3, to 4 as they start seeing it. And when you put your cursor on there, it'll list the assignments that you have that teak associated with. So those numbers are right there. No one has that green star, although they would have had the green star had I left it. Let me put that back. Not on 11. Not on 11. See how they've got the little star? That's why I think that's important to change that one.
We have a couple of comments. Miriam says, this is so perfect for backwards learning design. I can see how to set up expectations in the beginning to build instruction for those goals. And Lauren said, I definitely want to start incorporating them. I think students will be more responsive to this type of feedback, which I completely agree with.
And I love about that, making our grading more consistent, especially if y'all develop the rubrics as you're doing that, your backwards design, and you're making your rubrics, you put them all in your Schoology. Y'all can easily make a group that your team is in, and you can house them there, and you can just, let me go to this again, but and Emily showed this, but in here, when you get your rubric, you can just say save to resources, which will go into that group that you all have. So if y'all develop one in your courses, you can use it there and share it. Yes, consistency. Mhm.
And I'm telling, I used to do rubrics all by hand. Like I would print one out per kid, and I would make them teeny tiny to save paper, and doing on Schoology is so much faster.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, I wish I had this when I was teaching.
Faster. I'm getting, yes, okay.
And we actually have, before y'all leave, a really cool webinar series that's coming up. And so I'm just going to shout it out because I'm so excited. And this is cool, but wait till you hear. Kaylee, do you want us to share what it is that's coming? Or I guess,
Yeah.
Karen, would you go to our site?
Yep.
And I'll type it in
there
the
right
chat.
now.
We have, I'm so excited. I was about to share it. Kaylee, go ahead and share it.
We have an Adobe Spark series coming up. And so the first webinar is actually pre-recorded, so it's already out, and it's just the intro to using Adobe Spark. But October 26th is going to be a live webinar where we talk about student collaboration with Adobe Spark. And I absolutely love Adobe Spark. I love it so much that I purchased. Oh, you can't even see. Let me turn off my background.
And Adobe Spark, even, we contacted them and said, we are hosting this series, and they gave us a ton of prizes. And so they're mailing us prizes. And so we are super excited to share with y'all. And so go ahead and sign up if you're available. And thank y'all for coming tonight. We're going to stick around if you have any other questions.
Yes, Miriam, the Adobe Spark portfolios are fantastic. I helped a third grade class at Fox do their, third grade do their portfolios. And so it took them, it was funny because she had it set up where the portfolios were 2 stations. And she gave them like 15 minutes at each station, but the kids were done in 5 minutes as far as just making the initial portfolio.
And if you're thinking you want students, attendance we're getting from Zoom, so don't worry about any attendance form. But if my vote teachers who are in here, if you are, or any teacher, if you're thinking about dialogue for your students, student creation, student collaboration, Adobe Spark has it all. And so this is really such a great series. We look forward to seeing you. Thank you for coming tonight.
I'm super excited about the series. I'm really sad that I will not be there for the last one though.
Oh yeah, Kaylee's having a baby
in a few weeks.
Our team is growing by one little boy.
That's right. Yeah, but that's okay. They'll suffer through. It'll be Emily and I, and so.
We love Adobe Spark as well.
We do. But yes, attendance is all done through the Zoom report that we get once it's over. There goes my dog.
And you'll be in the course. This course will stay open for the rest of the school year, and you can always look in your archived courses if you want more information on rubrics and mastery. You can go back to the course. Feel free to contact your digital learning specialist. All our contact information is on our site that I did link in the chat under campus support. So thank you all for coming.
Yep. Thank you all, and we'll see you all next time.